fucking thing barely lit. Just fucking shit clogged. Are you fucking serious? I wasn't even planning to curse this episode. I've been getting all these emails from like moms complaining that there's too much foul language on this program. Nah, fuck that. I'm kidding. Okay. Well, it's dead money. Welcome back. I'm back from, well, it wasn't New York I went to. It was New Jersey. It was fucking wedding. Forgot where I left off. I know I'm continuing like a previous episode. I remember that. I hope I can remember what I'm supposed to talk about. But yeah, here we are. Yeah. Oh yeah, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe to the channel so you can get all the newsletters and... Alright, that's better. Anyway, so I think we left off with that pocket aces debacle where the guy 4-bet at a turn and then they didn't even hold him to the 4-bet size he originally used after I needed a floor man to set the rules straight, which of course gave away the fact that I have aces, or at least it should have given it away. In any event, it really got this guy rolling. Really got him firing the action. By the way, if throughout this episode, if you hear me scream at any point, it's because my fucking back has been fucked up. I was in my frickin' friend's place during the week in New Jersey, and a couple nights I slept on this aero bed. You know, one of those inflatable beds. Damn, it fucked me up. I've always heard about how bad having a bad back is. I never really experienced it. I mean, yeah, this sucks. It hurts to sneeze. It hurts to swallow. It hurts to lift my arm. It just hurts. I took some stuff for it. It's better, but it ain't there yet. Anyway, so this southern-looking fellow who seems like he'd fit right in with those Texas games. I mean, he's given the action now, and, you know, you can just feel. This guy had strong energy. You could just feel how he was. Like, just non-stop. But I noticed that when you get these crazy action players once in a while, I notice just how regs hardly ever seem to increase their opening sizes when they can clearly get away with it, or 3-bet to really big sizes when they can clearly get away with it. I mean, the guy wants to play. The guy wants to put the money in. He wants to see the flop. He's not going to be splitting hairs over you making it 20 instead of 15 or 25 instead of 20. I mean, you can make it 30. Only if you start pushing the numbers like obscenely high, okay, yeah, then it's going to have an effect. But until you get to that point, they ain't playing like they were the regs. Like, I mean, the regs, that's why I'm not impressed with that many people who play. It's like you win, but like you're so confined to this little box. Like you're not able to think outside this box. It's a profitable box, but like, don't you want to make more money? People, they're just afraid to take chances. Anyway, first he limps in, and I checked king 8 of clubs in the big blind. He limped early position. I think we went 3 ways. And it came ace 3 6, 2 clubs. I have the nut flush draw because the ace was a club. And check, he bets 10, folds. I make it 50. He calls it. I'm already like not loving the idea of what I'm doing here. I mean, I didn't think he had an ace. I figured he just would bet bigger than 10 if he had an ace. And I'm in the big blind, so I'm supposed to be able to have every 2 pair and probably pocket 3s, maybe even pocket 6s. I doubt he would put me on pocket aces, but yeah, I mean, these are logical things, but you know, when you're playing against people who are anything but logical, you can't expect them to suddenly think logically. So I knew that playing the hand this way is potentially going to make life tough on myself if I don't get there, which we know I probably won't. Turn was nothing. I think it was a 10. I bet 100. He calls right away. And it's like, I'm aware as well that, and I've been trying to make myself more aware of this in more situations, that like, hey, you might have the best hand here. Don't think that you don't or that you can't. In this spot, that's a little more obvious with the 4 or 5 straight draw out there. He could have other clubs. I mean, but it's a good thing to remember even when you're playing against more normal players. Anyway, he calls the 100. River is another 3, flush bricks, and I think I got it just checked now. And then he overbets a bit. He bets 400 into like 320, I think. And yeah, I wanted to call. I mean, I know I have blockers to the type of hands I'm hoping to see, which is miss clubs, but I don't block 5-4. And even though I block some clubs, when the guy is going to limp and play a million hands, having blockers to these flush draws, I mean, obviously it's inherently relevant, but it's also of minimal relevance because he is not going to only have like a few different combos of clubs. He's going to have 7 deuce, I mean, and everything else. So his only value is probably just going to be a 3. And he could have a 3. If you call him, it wouldn't shock me in the least if he turned over a 3. But you think about the price you're getting, and he is going to have to be bluffing with an air ball. I mean, I guess something between 35 and 40%. I don't know. I didn't do the exact fucking math. But whatever it is, I mean, it's probably an air ball enough. I should probably just live with it and call, and I wanted to, but I fold, and he shows me the 5-4 offsuit. And this is what happens when you're playing against these wild players. I mean, you end up putting yourself in some strange spots, having to make some strange decisions you want to make, not comfortable making, then you don't make them, and then you're wrong. You know, you may be making money against these players because they are making so many mistakes, but, you know, they giveth and taketh away as well, because if you're not great at adapting to the funky things they're going to do, your edge against them is not as big as you think. Now, I'm not saying I can't adapt to these kinds of players. I'm just saying I blew it this time. I mean, it's not the worst fold in the world, but I felt like I had it and it got away. I mean, the way you really crush these players is, well, actually, it's probably more from folding to them when they have it, actually, because they can be very, very tough to fold to. But point is, when players take these huge shots in big games because there's some whale there, you know, they think they're in a great spot, but they may not actually be in a great spot, because if the whale catches a hand against them, they're probably going to get stacked. And if the whale's going to stack you that often, I mean, yeah, you're still probably making money because he's making so many other mistakes, but your edge against him isn't that big. And if you knew what your true edge was, you might not want to play. You probably wouldn't play in a game that big. You'd think this is just another guy who's like, you know, he's not very good, but like he's not worth playing against. But this is the amazing thing about playing against whales and playing against fish, is no two fish are really alike. I mean, they can run very close together, but there's always going to be differences in every player, because this game like peels into the fucking human condition of each player. I mean, it doesn't matter how much you know about poker. What matters is where your head is when you're in the game. So, whatever, he beat me. So I had raised ace-10 of clubs, probably just a 20. We go 3 ways. Comes jack-10-9, 2 spades. So I check, he bets 75 into 60. The big blind called, I think. He was a reg. I fold. Turn is a queen. So there's a 4-liner out there. And then Southern action, check calls 125. River is nothing, it goes check, check. And ace, queen, 1. So he bets the flop with a full combo nut flush draw, nut straight draw. Turns top pair only, and then isn't forced to call the river. Then a little later, he started getting into some tit for tat with the reg, whose bluff he called on the turn with that hand. But then he said he was boasting about how he had bet the turn. He had check called the turn, but moments later he was boasting that he bet with ace queen of spades on the 9-10 jack queen 2 spades, claiming that he knew he didn't have a straight. Now, I don't know if he was thinking he called but said he bet, but either way he said he bet, and this just took place. I mean, if I went after everybody over every little imperfection or fuck up or whatever the fuck I'm supposed to call it, I mean, I'd lose my voice. So a lot of times, I mean, I tell you a lot of stories about me getting combative with people, but there's so many more of them where I just don't say anything, because it's just, there's only so many hours in the day, there's only so many words you can speak before you want to pass out. So, okay, he wins. He won a big pot against another reg. He won a big pot against him with 7-5 offsuit on an ace-high board. I think he made trip 5s or trip 7s, big check raise on the turn, 700 on the river. I mean, you know, this guy started running hot. In fact, he got very hot. What started out as a disaster, it looked like he's just going to dust. Next thing you know, he ran 400 into like 4,000 in like an hour and a half. I got into a 3-bet pot with him where I'm out of position with ace-jack of clubs. And the flop come ace-7-6, 2 hearts. and I check out of position. Every time I got into a pot with this guy, I seemed to be out of position. It was a little annoying. And it's not like he was sitting on my left. In any event, flop goes check, check. There's a lot of bad turn cards. I don't want to bet and get raised. Turns another 7. I check call 200 into like 230. Already getting a little nervous. The river is a 3. So 4-5 gets there. Hearts miss. Check call 450, and he's got 7-5 offsuit again. And when I called the 450, I wasn't feeling lovely about it again. And even the way he was cutting out his chips and everything, it just, that's the thing when people are value betting. It's just like, it seems very, very like methodical. It seems like they're really, being careful about how to execute this, because it's like, okay, I have it. How do I try to get paid? What can I get him to call? So it felt like that's what was going on again, but I really can't lose anything except a 7, and because I figured he would bet 4 or 5 on the flop. So, you feel damned if you do and feel damned if you don't. And just as I said, it's hard to fold to the guy even though you really want to. It's like, oh, it's this guy. But look, it's not a bad call. I don't think it's a bad call. I had an instinct, just like I had an instinct to call with King 8. Made the wrong decision both times. But he probably will have enough fluff or, pleasant surprises for me to beat. Because we all do that too. You call the river and you're not feeling great about it, and then you're like pleasantly surprised to see he's bluffing. Now, that doesn't mean he was bluffing enough in that spot, but he was bluffing that day, and since he was, you're going to feel like, oh, yes, he does bluff enough. It's very hard not to be results-oriented. So then he did something he hadn't done all day. He'd been there for a while. He limps in. Nothing new there. There's a raise to 15. There's a call. I call big blind with 10 9 spades, and now he limp raises. Where did that come from? He makes it 65. We all call. We're 4 ways. Flop comes 4 5 6 rainbow, and it checks to Southern Action. Is that what I've been calling him? I don't even remember what name I gave him. Anyway, checks to him. He bets and gets check raised by the good reg. Immediately goes all in. The reg calls it off. This is the reg who lost the other big pot to him when he had 7-5 off. He's claiming he has the nuts. Action is claiming he has the nuts. The turn was nothing, and the 4 diamonds came on the river. So there's no flush, but he says, I have a boat. Action says he has a boat. Reg has first action. He turns over pocket 7s, and then Action mucks. So he's just overstating his hand. I don't think he was actually going to angle him. He was just fucking around. He knows he's fucked, and he just wants to scare the other guy. That's the most he can get at this point. And then he just mucks anyway. But look, we all know it. There's moments in Hold'em that are just of sheer terror. When you're all in for a big pot, you see a river you don't want to see, you win anyway. You still have that moment of stress. Then he starts getting on the dealer a little bit. Like, not too much. It wasn't like that serious. He was just like, what's that, dealer? He's like, what was that river, dealer? I said 4 diamonds. First time I really said anything since the floor ruling. Then he looks up to me and says, thank you for that information. I appreciate it. And, this guy was calling everybody sweetheart. Mocking the shit out of people, just getting cocky and obnoxious as he's running them up. Finally loses a big pot. He's getting a little bitchy. And yeah, I don't have to say the river's 4 diamonds, but fuck him. Some people cannot take anywhere close to as well as they dish. And it was funny hearing him complain how much he was losing on the river. Like, he would lose a $20 bet on the river, like a pot that had nothing go into it. He's got piles in front of him, and he's like throwing his arms. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I lost on the river again. To be a fish. So then I had a couple of interesting hands with this competent reg I keep talking about, this Asian fellow. Seems like he's capable of playing higher, but just 2-5 tonight. I think the game was only 5 or 6 handed right now, and I can't remember if Action was even there. He may have been on a break. I raised with aces. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because I had aces and Action wasn't there. So 20 with aces, big blind reg calls, and it comes 8, 7, 5, 2 clubs. He checks, and I check. And the turn is an ace. He check calls 25. Now the river is the queen of clubs. He checks, so the front door flush comes in. It's not that I'm scared of this river. It's just that the club is like the worst river in the deck. I guess the 6, 9, or 4 clubs are even worse, because then it's a 4-liner straight and a possible flush. But obviously in this spot, when this river comes, it just makes potential for life to get annoying or less prosperous. So the pot's only got about 85, 90. I bet 125. He check raises to, I think, 450. He made a pot-sized check raise, so yeah, it was either 450, maybe a little less. And I ended up folding, and this is just so tilting. I mean, I bet so big because I figured that would make it impossible for him to raise unless he had me beat. Whereas if I bet like half pot and then, if he check raises to like, I don't know, 250, I'm going to call and presumably lose. So I thought if I bet 125 and get raised, now I get to lose less than the amount I bet call. Now if I bet call, then of course I see the hand and there's a chance I win. But I'm not expecting to be check raise bluffed. So I felt I was going to lose less this way, but I also don't get to see the hand, which means there's a chance he was bluffing. But, I mean, this is what I was thinking, and I'm not saying it's smart. I think I should just go kind of small and just deal with whatever happens. Because by betting 125, it's strengthening his continuation range way too much, and it's going to be really, really hard for him to call it worse. And there's no way he's fucking raising worse. I mean, I just think raising worse is so unlikely here. You could 3-bet ace-queen pre, check raise sets on the turn. I mean, just do anything else but what he did. I mean, I can see how a flush would fit right into this. All right, he's just checking flop like normal, gets that turn card and just checks again. Now he got there and thinks I can either bluff river or value bet. So it's a great spot for him to check raise a flush. And I'm confident that's what he had. It's just, was this 125 river bet like sensible? I mean, it's like, because if I bet 50, maybe he will look me up a little lighter and I can actually win something sometimes when I have the best hand. 125, he is just never going to freaking call with anything worse. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he could have he would have to have queen 8. If that queen gave him 2 pair or something, then I guess he might start getting curious about calling over bets, but that's about as far as it's going to get. And I don't even know if he was peeling pre with that kind of hand. So not in love with my sizing here. I mean, it may have ended up saving me money because, like I said, I would probably call a bigger check raise if I had bet smaller. Whereas if I get check raise but I bet huge, now it's I'm not going to even worry about there's any bluffs showing up here. So then the next hand I play with this reg, I 3-bet him with ace-queen of diamonds. He raised to 20, I made it 60. He calls, I'm in position again. Flop comes queen 8-5 rainbow. He check calls 70. Turn is the king of diamonds. There's 2 diamonds now. But that king, that's always the thread the needle card. When you have top pair queens with ace queen, and then the king shows up, the one over card that you don't want to see. But at least it's a diamond, so I got the flush draw. He checks. And hey, what's up? 7 of diamonds on the river. Got the nuts. He bets 150 into 260. I make it 550. And he's tanking for a while, and then he's like, ace queen with the ace of diamonds. But he calls. And this hand, it was just so bizarre with the timing, because it's I had just folded top set to him where I check back flop with a aces overpair. Then I get a flush card and I get check raised on it. He didn't get check raised, but this also has a flush come on the river, and he ends up bet calling. And what can he bet call with? I mean, he's going to have a fair amount of sets. I mean, he can have king queen also. We know that's a very strong possibility. But in my mind, I'm playing this little game with myself that it was this cosmic battle between the two of us, arranged for both of us to see who's better. It's I get top set when he makes the nut flush, and then he makes a set when I make the nut flush. Only I folded to his river check raise, whereas he had bet called my raise. So therefore I am better. That's the way I want to look at this. Then he and I get to play another pot where he raises 20 from under the gun or early position. I almost folded ace-3 of diamonds as next action, and normally I would. But with Southern action back in the game, he's playing everything, and he was going up and down. I mean, I don't remember how deep he was when this hand happened. He had to have been somewhat deep, at least, for me to want to play this weak of a spot with ace-3 of diamonds. But Southern action was the button, so he's calling almost everything anyway, and when he's the button, that goes up even more. Flop comes ace-10-6, 2 hearts, so I have just a pure top pair, and I told myself if the reg bets this flop, I'm just going to fold. But we all check, and the turn is an ace, And I don't know if this went 3 ways, 4 ways, 5 ways. This part I didn't remember. But the reg bet 75, which probably wasn't some big overbet. But I called. And the river is the 8 of hearts. So the front door flush hits once again. He checks. And you know something? I checked back trip aces here because I just couldn't see him calling with worse. I mean, there's plenty of times I've gone for thin value and it may have been a little too thin. And I felt this spot, it's definitely too thin. And he had ace queen of hearts. So we got another 1-outer thunderbolt on the turn, but at least this river saved me because if the river was a blank, I mean, if he checks, we know I'm going to do something. And if he bets again, I mean, you'd think he'd be calling a lot, but I did fold 3 aces to him already, so got 3 aces against him again, and this time I checked back, and he's just got me completely fucked. Good thing I thought to fold flop if he bets. I mean, I think it's an easy fold, but he almost bet. Last hand to get into from this day was Action Texas, whatever, Action Southern man. He was getting low at this point, and another reg had joined the game, and the reg who had joined the game is... I don't know if he's a losing player anymore. I mean, I could definitely see him still being a maniac. Talked about this guy. I haven't assigned him a name yet. I'm still working on it. He can be such a fucking maniac whale who just punts and will just lose his motherfucking ass. But he can also be very hard to play against. And it just seems like he's put work in. It just seems like he's studied some things. Just seeing the sizes he uses, the way he thinks about, or the way he looks when he's thinking about situations, something has changed. But the thing is, no matter how much players improve, they still might just be who they are. And if he's just some recreational spaz, then it won't matter that much how much knowledge he has gained on the side. He may end up losing a little bit less because of it, but he's still going to be a fucking cash cow. But I've been having a lot of tough spots against this guy lately. I don't know if he's just running good with situations or what, but either way, I'm not really that comfortable with him right now. I mean, it's just, I keep ending up in bad spots with him. And it's just, he's not showing me any bluffs. So, you know, because I keep folding to him. So, I mean, only he knows what's going on. Anyway, there's a raise 15. This whale / amazing reg calls. All right, 3-bet to 60 with jacks. Action Texas calls. We go 4 ways. I'm in position. Flop comes 10-8-4, 2 clubs. And I don't have a club, and I almost checked back because I didn't want to get check raised by the reg, and the Action Southern whale man wasn't so deep anymore. So I almost checked about 150. Southern guy calls. And then I get check raised by the fucking reg to 350, and we're super fucking deep. And I'm just like, this is exactly what I was afraid of. And I'm worried that this guy might be running some very sophisticated play where, you know, if he's bluffing me, but he thinks he has the fish beat. I mean, that's the worst case scenario. But I was worried I was going to get threatened to have to stack off with this hand. So I just folded right now, facing only a little bit more than min raise. Action calls it off. Turn was a 9 of clubs, so flush came in, ace on the river. So Action turns over ace king, so he would have beaten me. And the reg, he turns over a set, so he would have beaten me too. But he didn't flop a set. He turned a set of 9s. So I folded the fucking best hand. He check raised me from 150 to 350, and I fold to pocket 9s, and he was doing exactly what I was afraid of. He's running either a bluff against me or just trying to knock me out if I have nothing, but also get it in with the fish because he knows pocket 9s will be good against him quite a bit. So I make the wrong fold, and then I fall behind on the turn anyway. Now there's flush possible, but when I have the open ender with jacks, if I call this flop check raise of his, he's probably likely to check that turn card, and we know I'm going to check back. And with the ace on the river, I mean, I'm not putting any more money in. I mean, if he bets heavy, I'm probably just giving it to him. And if he checks, I'm obviously checking back. So I make the wrong decision. And, I mean, but save money because of it. So that feels a little better. But you still feel like a fucking asshole. You know, I almost walked away from a very big pot. Well, not that big, but it feels very big. But had I checked flop, and by the way, oh yeah, Southern was mocking me after I got check raise on the flop and fold. He's like, yeah, you hesitated. And I was like, and it's true, I did hesitate, but yeah, if I do check back flop, but we get this turn, 10-8-4-9, 3 clubs, Action's probably going in because he had the ace of clubs. We know the reg is calling with his set, maybe even raising, but either way, I'm going to want to see that river. I mean, if there's a raise in front of me, then, you know, we know I'm not going to call, but so Just a fucked up hand. I mean, where I basically just did nothing right. I mean, other than 3-betting pre, I wish I had just called the flop check raise and played the hand right. I would have rather just lost more money. So that wrapped up what happened for this day. I don't even remember if I won or not. I think I won something. So I come back whatever day it was, probably the next day. First game I get into looks pretty soft. The fishiest looking player in the game who was on my right limps in and calls 25. I got pocket tens. Flop is Jack 6 deuce, 2 diamonds. He check calls 25. Turns the king, he checks, and I bet 100. I bet close to the pot. He did this whole show at first. He jolted his body for a second, which usually means strength because he's trying to act like, oh my god, he bet again, what do I do? But he tanked for a while, and I don't know, after a little bit, the agony seemed kind of real. I wasn't sure. And I thought about checking turn, and I thought about betting smaller. Betting smaller might be better, but I bet this turn card and this size to merge against his Jack X hands I'm trying to bluff, or I could get value from flush draws, as long as it's not a king high flush draw. So, this turn bet is all about being able to go really big on a bunch of different rivers. So he does his little show, tank calls, rivers and 9, and he checks. And yeah, I mean, I still wasn't sure if that whole little thing on the turn was a show or if he was legitimately scared, but I don't tend to err on the side of caution here. Or maybe you could argue that bluffing is erring on the side of caution. You're not going to just let the pot sit out there and lose to a lot of hands that might fold river. I mean, if he has like queen jack or any jack, he might be willing to call a pot-sized bet on the turn that's only 100, but if you bring another heavy shell at him, he's not going to want to call. So I go for it. I bet 425, and he tanks, and he tanks, and he tanks, and he tanks, and then he calls with king deuce suited. So he turned top and bottom pair, and he did not have a flush draw. So his whole little body jolt on the turn after first being bet into, I mean, yeah, maybe it was a show. I mean, but he also was legitimately concerned on the river. So, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of rivers he would have folded to. I mean, he's going to fold to a diamond. If I had a 10, I win. If an ace comes, he's still probably calling. But if I had jammed this river, that would have been interesting. I mean, I didn't have the 10 of diamonds, so I didn't block queen 10 of diamonds. But he also called so slow on the turn, so you have to figure fish are not going to be tanking with their draws. They just put the money in right away. If they're thinking for a while, it's because they haven't made hands. Nevertheless, though, jamming, I mean, it would have been a bit of a scary blind shot to throw at somebody. Well, I mean, not like a blind shot, but just blind in the sense I don't really know this guy. I just got here. I don't know how likely he is to station off against huge overbets on the river with only 2 pair. But had I jammed, I mean, he probably doesn't call. So I don't know if jamming's better, but it's always hindsight. I mean, it's always say it over and over. Just very easy to be results oriented. But he made an interesting comment after that. He's like, I would have called 200. I was like, oh, really? I would have never guessed. Calls 425, then tells me he would have called 200. Okay, thank you for pointing that out to me. I mean, it's just your typical post-flop analysis from fish. They don't say anything that makes even the slightest bit of sense. But okay, you win. Get stuck right away. Put me in not that bad of a mood, but, a little something. So then comes a hand, a guy raises middle position to 20. I call the big blind with pocket 8s. Flop comes king 4-4. Rainbow goes check, check. Turns a 5. I bet 15. He calls. River is a 10. I bet 5 into 70. He raises to 35. I call, and I win. He has 7-6 offsuit. Or maybe it was suited. I don't know. He had 7-6. Doesn't bet this king 4-4 flop. Turns open ender. And then bites on the min bet on the river. Then he says, makes one of these silly jokes. Oh, glad that 8 didn't come since, would have given me a boat. And then I said, yeah, I'm glad too. And it's not that funny of a joke, but is it not clear that I'm joking? He's like, it just gets me so tilted. I just want to fucking facepalm and scream. And this is a white guy. He's like, what? He's like, why are you glad the 8 didn't come? And I'm just like, I just looked at him. I was like, look up there. And I just, did the whole hand signal going over your head. I mean, it's like that kind of got him a little offended. He was just not angry, but he was like, I guess someone asked him. He's like, what did he say? He's like, I don't know. He's like, I couldn't figure it out. I wasn't smart enough. I was like, I have confidence in you. So why do I bother? So then I get 5-4 offsuit in the big blind. That might be the worst story I've ever told. Anyway, flop is ace-6-3. I check. We go 4 ways. So I flop a clean open-ender. And there's a bet of 20. I was going to check raise, but when this other fishy-looking player bet 20 into 15, I know it's not to be taken as seriously as when someone bets 1.33x into a $500 pot. This is a $20 pot. But nevertheless, I'd already lost his bluff. I don't want to check raise. But then I don't have to check raise because the small blind check raised to 70. And I called the 70 because I figured the better was calling. In fact, he was already cutting out his calling chips. And this is not a punt. I mean, the implied odds are great. The small blind has going to have a big hand. I'm going to get called behind me. If I hit the straight out of the nuts, I have a bluffing image. I mean, it's stupid not to look for it here. And I drew it on the turn. And he checks. And I think I bet 150. And I should be going bigger here because I don't think he's checking a fold just yet. So I can probably go at least the pot size and then figure out what I'm doing on the river. But only the small blind calls. We go heads up. And the river's a real pain in the ass. It's the queen of hearts, backdoor flush. He checks. And the only flush combo he can have is ace-6 of hearts that I would expect him to check raise flop with. He may even raise to like 15 out of the small blind with that. But nevertheless, I have to size down a little here. I mean, I'm not saying down, but like I can't go as big if that queen weren't a heart. So I bet 5 into 5-3, and he tanks and he tanks and he tanks, and I think I got the, oh, well, it's this guy, so I have to call. So he calls. All right, so I got called. Hooray. So then later on, some white guy joins the game, and I guess his first orbit or two, I was active, and then maybe the next 30, 40 minutes, or maybe more like 20 minutes. Then he says to me, he's like, you were playing a lot of hands before, then you stopped. I was like, it was like 10 minutes. I mean, this is an amazing thing about live poker. People don't realize the pace of it and how slow it really is. And it's like someone goes 30 minutes without playing a hand. That tells you absolutely nothing. It's more about like their body language and their way of being. That's more suggestive of the way they play. Not just the fact that they're not playing any hands. But he inspired me to play more hands. So I played the ace-queen when I got it. I was probably going to fold that hand, if he didn't tell me I wasn't playing hands. Because I already had folded it the previous 7 shuffles. Yeah, I was dealt ace-queen off 7 straight hands and folded every time. But when the guy said, hey, you were playing hands before, then I thought, all right, I'll play it this time. So he limp calls from early position, and the flop comes queen 6-5, 2 diamonds. He check calls 35, turns at 10. Now he leads 45. I raised to 170, and he tank fucking show folded a queen. Terrible. So much I can't even continue to talk about it. Then he raises 15 to hijack. I don't know if that was a sizing tell or not. I just 3-bet to 50 on the button with king jack off because why not? I have the button and he's not good at poker. So he calls and the flop is 9 deuce deuce, 2 spades. I whiffed pretty hard. He check calls some normal size, probably like 70, but he made this face. I didn't know what to make of that face. I mean, did he flop a boat or is he, I don't know. Turns to 7 of diamonds, 2-tone board. He check calls 230, and the river is the jack of spades. So I hit top pair, but the front door flush comes. He checks, and I didn't know what size I was going to bet. I was thinking about giving up some rivers, but I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to say until you're put in the spot. So let's just say we don't know. So I down bet now. I bet 125, and he jams a little over 800 total. And I tanked. And when you're tanking for a while against a recreational player and you fold and they don't show, that's a good sign because that's a situation where people are among the likeliest to show a bluff. They're rec players. They want to show off, It's a chance to show something dramatic, Look how great I played, And I don't even know why I tanked for so long. I don't know why I convinced myself there was a chance that this guy was bluffing. So it's embarrassing. It took me this long to fold, even though it's the correct decision. And a little while later, he says good fold. And it sounded sincere. So, I don't know. I guess I just thought for so long because I didn't think he would check a big hand on the river. But look, we see it once in a while. And when it happens and they suddenly check, rip it in your face, it's like, probably just has it. So then I play another hand with another reg. He looked European. Hadn't played much of them before. He raises to 20, and I call the big blind with pocket 5s. There's 2 fish in the hand. And the flop is queen 9-5, 2 spades and a diamond. I donked 50 from the big blind, and only the red called. Turns to 7 of diamonds. 2 diamonds now. I bet 160. He called. The river is a 9 of diamonds. So backdoor flush hits, and I have a small full house. I bet 480, and he called. And he seemed very tilted after that. I don't know if he was tilted with himself or just tilted with the fact that he had ace, queen, kings, or aces, and just felt he should call down and gets shown this hand, which he might consider a cooler. I mean, who knows if he may have hit a flush himself, because he called the river the fastest than he called any street, and the river was by far the biggest bet. But whatever he had, I mean, I don't think donking here is really a bad idea. I mean, the fish are very likely to check back hands that they will call with. And, you know, you don't know that this guy's going to bet the flop anyway. The reg, that is, the guy who opened. And even if he does, oh, I'm just going to check raise flop, you know, and it's like, it's just going to, I fear, look too strong at some point in the hand. Yet I still wouldn't want to bluff if I had a draw, like Jack 10 or 6-7 combo, you know, something like that. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to not want to check raise for value here, but fear check raising as a bluff. That doesn't make any sense. And we know players find themselves in that predicament a lot. Or more like, not predicament, just more like they're not willing to bluff this spot, but they're not excited to value bet because they don't think they're going to get called. So, you know, if I'm not happy about check raising flop with a set, then I should be happy about check raise bluffing with a draw. But look, however you want to slice it, I mean, I think just donking here all the way actually plays pretty well. And, you know, we know all about don't donk, don't bet into the pre-flop raiser. I mean, when you flop these big hands multi-way and you got multiple players behind the original raiser, you know, these are the spots where you should be looking to make more exceptions, because there's just a high probability that everybody is going to want to check. You know, it's heads up. The guy has a lot more incentive to bet. He only has one more guy to get through. When he has 3 or 4, not going to bet as often. When you have a hand as strong as this one, it's your dream to get as much money in ASAP, you know, and if you're cooler, then you're cooler. So then Southern Action comes back, bought in low, and he never got anything going. He kept calling people sweetheart. Then someone asked him if he was a fag. Asked him straight up, like, are you a fag? And he said that was disrespectful. And yeah, I mean, it's not that it wasn't disrespectful, but it's just, it was quite rich coming from him. You know, you're going to call somebody sweetheart at the table. Like, it's like this sort of gay, insulting thing to say to somebody, right? Like, if I were to call a guy sweetheart, I mean, I'm not necessarily calling him gay. I mean, I could claim that I wasn't, but oftentimes if someone says that, it's very suggestive. I mean, whatever it is, they're calling you soft. They're calling you something that you don't want to be called. So, whatever. He didn't last very long. And yeah, I think that's the last time I played. It was a while ago by now. I had the trip coming up, but I'm back. There's a chance I never play poker again, but I'll probably be back there soon. And I guess we'll talk to you then. See you next time on Dead Money with Dan Arfin. That is I. Bye.